right, St. Louis. I'd like to say good morning, St. Louis. It's time to go to school, St. Louis. No question about it. We have been following deception so long, and I think the reason we've been following deception, St. Louis, is because we've not evolved in mind. Just imagine. When we were children, we didn't know much about satellites. We didn't know much about iPhones back over 50 years ago. We had no clue. We didn't know about supersonic back then, and now we know. So just imagine if we can grow in mind power, strength. In other words, just imagine if we would have known back then what we know now, how far ahead we would be. But just imagine if we can know all there is to know, and as a result of knowing all there is to know, we can reverse the laws of thermodynamics. Entropy increases, chaos and disorder. That clearly tells me that we are literally going the wrong way. We're going towards infancy, or infinity, I should say. Where I get infancy from? Thinking about my grandbaby, I guess. Saw little Nile yesterday, looking nice and handsome. Shout out to Nile and Noel and your grandbabies, even Junior. But the question we must begin to ask ourselves, we are living with an undeveloped mind that can only process at the level of its strength. So as a result, it doesn't see that there's something wrong because it's moving so slow. And before it comes to the realization that it was moving too slow, it perishes because it's dying each day. If you're given a life expectancy, that means you're dying. If you're given a life expectancy, you're literally dying. And you never lived. How can you have lived if you're given a life expectancy, born death? You never reached the level of power to know that you didn't know, so subsequently you have never lived. That should tell us we're going the wrong way. We're going the wrong way. We look at ourselves as being physical. You're not physical. You are literally a light with power. But if you don't reach the maximum power, you're not going to be able to reverse the decay of that light. And as a result, you're going to be able to be controlled and manipulated by those or the system which job is to manipulate you. All that we're doing on this earth, all that we're doing is following the cause and effect. That's all it's following. You buy a car, eventually the car breaks down. You're born, eventually your body breaks down. You lose your eyesight gradually, your teeth start decaying. You start smelling because you're dying. It's just like taking ice out of the refrigerator and leaving it out for about 2-3 days. After 2-3 days, the ice has changed its state. It's now liquid. At first it was solid. Then if you leave it out long enough, especially in the sun, it's going to vaporize. You're not going to see it, but it's there. It just changed states. We must begin to understand that we have to reach a tremendous amount of speed. They say 11 kilometers per second. If you can reach that level of speed, you will literally leave the place in which you dwell. And what I mean by speed is processing power. Your mind has to be able to process the information around it a lot faster than it has been processing it, because depending upon the power is going to determine whether or not you're able to see. Many of you think you're seeing the same things. You're not seeing the same things. You're seeing somewhat similar, but at different times, different frames. The faster your mind can encode, you're going to literally cause time to reverse itself. Time travel, as they call. But you're not going to necessarily go back and stop grandmama from marrying your grandfather and having your mother. No, that's already done. That's still in the past. The only thing you can actually do as you strengthen in mind is to go all the way back to the beginning of everything and warp space and time. In other words, you're getting rid of space and time. And as a result of removing space and time, that will enable you to see the world as it truly is. Because there is perfection. It's just that we have been living in the imperfection and disorder. And that's one of the reasons we have rulerships, kings and queens and presidents, governments. That's one of the reasons we're literally perishing from cancer, different types of infirmities, because we're going the wrong way. It's just like breaking glass all around you, and the glass is continuously shattering. So as a result, the sound of the glass is distorted. We must strengthen our mind, and the glass in which we see will contract and reconfigure itself and place itself back where it came. And that's due to a perfect sound. Now, the glass itself is going to stay on the ground as you see the glass. However, you're going to see it in different frames, opposite of what others see it. So subsequently, you're now going to be, as they call, in space at absolute zero, minus friction and heat, just like going into outer orbit, just like the movie Interstellar, when he went into space and he came back and his daughter was much older. It's not that she was much older. At the molecular level, he was moving much faster. So as a result, she was seeing in different frames versus her father. So she was perishing. She was dying. And he was moving faster. It's just like time dilation. We must begin to understand that we have not reached our higher level of intelligence. We have not. And the reason we have not is because we're dying. We're perishing. You're changing energy states. We must remove ourselves from the laws of conservation, cause and effect. We must remove ourselves, and the only way to do this is to strengthen your mind. Other than that, you're not going to be able to do it because you're going to stay in that same reality. You have to leave the reality in which you dwell. Nor will you know there's a place to go because you have not the strength to know there's something greater than what you know, because you have not the power to encode it. We must begin to understand that we have unfortunately not finished the course. And that's one of the reasons young brothers and sisters, black and white, are dying all over this world. That's one reason the hospitals are full of people that are sick, babies with cancer, diabetes, etc., nursing homes, because we're living in toxic and the sound is distorted. The time has come for us to walk away from false doctrine, false religion. Time has come for us to be all that we've been called to be. We are called to be Alpha and Omega, the beginning and first and the last. I know many of you don't understand it because you don't have the mind to comprehend it. But we must begin to understand that we're not supposed to suffer as we've been suffering. The time is now to take that mountain. And once you get there, your light will automatically turn on. May God bless you all and get you to understand it's our time. St. Louis, Chi-Town, Oregon, New York, the Bahamas, Florida. It's our time. Trust me. Stay tuned. God bless.